Mental fluidal powers are the personal mental emanations or swinging waves and energy, as well as powers of the mental block of the human being vis-a-vis their thoughts, feelings, the psyche, and the consciousness. Therefore, that which is emanated from the mental swinging waves of the human being is what settles into material as well as places and in the skeleton. It is these swinging waves in which the character of the human being, the personality, their mentality, therefore their psyche, feelings, and thoughts, as well as the movements of the consciousness, which are deposited. The mental fluidal power, as swinging waves, emanate out from the body and out from the consciousness, the mental block, and also out from the personality and the character, and deposit themselves into clothing, jewelry, walls, houses, furniture, books, beams, simply everything which surrounds the human being. The longer these things surround the person, the more intensively they get charged by the mental fluidal energy. It is like a battery. The human being can only perceive fluidal power in a fine-feeling manner. When a person enters a house, they can feel attracted or instinctively repelled and uneasy. If a person has a piece of clothing that they always like to wear, then this is saturated with a positive mental fluidal energy or fluidal power, and they feel secure, well, and good wearing this clothing. Watches and jewelry of a loved one, which this person wore, are especially valuable, venerable mementos and symbolic givers of power. On the other hand, if jewelry, clothing, pictures, furniture, etc. have negative swinging waves deposited into them from someone who has died, or are worn by another person who is alive, or a residence has pictures and furniture, etc., then one can be harmed by these swinging waves, whereby nightmares can occur, or one can have an impaired moral state. If the human being is sensitive to the fluidal energy or fluidal power, it is possible to perceive it when holding or gnawing on a bone of an animal. All animals, as well as all creatures, have available fluidal power, as well as plants. These are not created by the personality, but by the nature of instinct. From this arises instinct fluidal power. They serve as a back connection into the past of the current life and into earlier lives, as well as a protection around oneself for the prevention of strange powers. The more balanced the person is in a mental, thought-feeling-based manner, in their psychical and consciousness-based state, the stronger are the fluidal powers and their protection. The more labile a person is in their thoughts and feelings, the more they are subject to outside influences of strange swinging waves or other mental fluidal powers which have a suggestive effect on them. Their fluidal immune system is weak and is subject to all sorts of negative power attacks. The mental swinging waves or fluidal power surround the human being like their own world, which only belongs to them, providing them a security in their own skin, in their clothing, and in their own four walls. Through the mental fluidal energy or fluidal powers, the new personality is able to unconsciously, consciously, or subconsciously have back connections to earlier lives, or simply to create memory connections into the past of the present life. Such actual fluidal back connecting comes consciously, unconsciously, or subconsciously when the human being, for example, reminisces in memories or rolls over some mental problems which they had in the past of their present life or are not able to let go of, and which, through impulses out of the storage banks and via the subconsciousness, fluidal powers are caused and indeed based on actual experiences or memories. The same process is involved when a person draws mental problems to themselves which already existed in an earlier life and did not get resolved. The impulses from out of the storage bank become accepted by the subconsciousness if these are not stemming from out of the subconsciousness itself, and then these take up a connection with the deposited fluidal energy or fluidal power in the object or the skeleton, which can then manifest in any wise. This signifies for the human being a processing-based and therefore evolutive help, through which the human being can slowly come to grasp a still unprocessed problem. From out of this type of back connecting, they can draw unconscious or subconscious information from out of the past or from earlier lives and then make their fluidal power useful, which can reach back from one up to hundreds of lives. According to how intensively they work on these type of old memories or problems, these then also get released, which as a rule can take many years or even hundreds or thousands of years, simply according to the intensive efforts of the subconsciousness and the consciousness. As soon as the problem or the memory is resolved, the human being ends the involved back connection. The human being always has multiple back connections to earlier lives, or in some cases, also in one's current life. Not only to the immediate previous life, but also to hundreds of former lives, because these impulses always strike them even if they are further developed. The impulses can be held practically for all eternity in the storage banks and become active even if the human being has evolved so far that they no longer need to call upon these impulses. As long as the human being requires these impulses, they will invariably strike them over and over. Once they are no longer responsive, when they are consciously able to control them, they are able to overcome all things and can finally be released from the past, whereby only the new has validity. The releasing from the old must be because the evolution requires this. The more a person is back connected to an earlier life or to the past of the actual life because of an unovercome mental problem from which they feel bound unconsciously, the more the possibility arises that through the back connecting to the deposited fluidal powers, visual or acoustic manifestations can occur, which for unknowing people are called spiritual apparitions. If the body and the skeleton are destroyed through fire, then the human being shuts themselves from the possibility of back connecting to that former life, and this can considerably hamper the evolution of the mental block. Back connecting is necessary. Also in the actual life it is of great importance, when, in the later years of one's life, connections to the fluidal power from childhood can be lived out, unfolded, and bring about mental evolution success. Not all mental data is stored with the same strength in things or places. As a result, in the present time, many are weak due to the human being changing their possessions so often, their furniture, etc., and frequently move from one living place to another, so that the fluidal power where they lived is weak. Thus, it is the body and its skeleton in every case which is the most important factor with regards to the storage of the mental swinging waves, the fluidal energy or fluidal power. These can remain in the skeleton for thousands of years depending on the soil or place where it is buried or otherwise lies.